What is up, everybody? Welcome here to the Half-Ass Pod. It's your boy Corn, as usual. Over here to the right, we got your boy Smith. Smith, say what's up to the people, man.
How's it going? You again?
And down here at the bottom, we have the author, the editor, the creator, the end-all and be-all of not only Walter Paisley Cafe, but Spadal, Mark Plaid. Mark, say what's up to the people, man.
Hey, we are on Tuesday again. This is getting regular. All right.
Yes, man. And let me tell you guys something, man. We got a full plate tonight. We've got the double future back here. Another week of the double future. Got Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare review, right here, right now, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta say, man, letting the cat out the bag. This movie was probably the best one yet. To me, this was probably the best one yet. And obviously, we're gonna get into it here in a second. But I gotta say, man, I went into this movie not really interested in wanting to watch it. I'm just gonna be honest. When I turned it on and I got to the opening scene, I was just like, I can tell this is probably not gonna be the greatest, Nightmare on Elm Street movie. But then I started getting more into it. It started getting more enjoyable. We started seeing the 90s came into play in this movie. And this is like the 90s before I was even fucking thought of. So like I don't even remember this part of the 90s. That's how awesome this was. And Freddy, I thought this was the best Freddy that we've gotten so far. And I'm sure you guys probably will disagree with me, and you will get more into that. But this, to me, I like this Freddy. This is my Freddy. Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare. This is my fucking Freddy. But Mark, I want to start off with you. After watching this movie for the first time in a while, what was your thought?
Well, yeah, I did wonder whether or not you'd like it because there are some aspects that I thought you may find likable, but we may not be on the same page. I don't know. But yeah, Freddy does seem a little bit more sinister. It kind of answers one of my questions, because I forgot. I've seen this film, but yeah, it's sort of, well, what the hell is Freddy anyway? I mean, if it wasn't answered, that would have been fine. But okay, so apparently he's some sort of, he's not a dream demon, but he's like the minion of dream demons. So yeah, that's interesting. However, a little lackluster in a lot of other parts for me. There were fewer kills, and there was only one that was really, really interesting to me. So yeah, but I don't know, Corin. Maybe you can change my mind. I'm coming into this review not. I'm not as excited to talk. I mean, I'm excited. I'm always excited to talk movies, whether I like them or not. But yeah, I'm not as enthusiastic about this movie. Coming into this review.
Smith, what about you? What was your thought after watching this movie?
It's definitely not the best one. No, it definitely is slow in the beginning. Really didn't like the first 30 minutes. Not much of interest, and then picks up in the ending. Even the ending was like not good, I would say, but it was good up until then. So, and yeah, it did answer some questions about Freddy's origins.
True. And I want to talk more about the origin part as well. I mean, we got a little bit of, well, obviously the most that we've gotten besides, what was it, Dream Warriors, where we got a little bit of the past, right? Where it was like, Freddy's mom and, got fucked by 100 dudes or some shit like that, or 100 prisoners or something like that. And then Freddy came out. That was which one?
That was number 5, I think.
5?
This is the last one, wasn't it?
No.
It was definitely the Dream Master.
Yeah.
That was when what's her name? His mother was in it, the ghostly nun.
Yeah,
You're right. It
was
was
Ford, right?
Yeah. Okay. But either way, yeah, he was the son of 100 maniacs.
Yeah,
I think that came up before 5. Yeah.
Yeah, but this movie we got more. This movie we got a lot more. I won't say a lot more, but we got more in depth of Freddy's past, which to me, watching this movie in just one sitting, I was kind of confused as to how they played with this story, because some of it kind of didn't necessarily make too much sense. But I guess, when it comes to horror, you don't really have to make too much sense, especially when it's Freddy. But in terms of the origin, I mean, were you guys pleased with the origin story of diving into his past, Freddy having a daughter and stuff like that? Like, did you guys kind of, and I wouldn't say enjoy it, but did it make sense to you guys in terms of the origin?
Yeah, that was probably the best parts of the film, was seeing Freddy as like a regular looking guy with like a tucked in polo shirt. Yeah.
Mark, what about you?
Well, what I wanted to know about the most was the supernatural aspect. I knew he was a murderer, all of that stuff. But yeah, I was interested. I wasn't totally disappointed. I wasn't really necessarily expecting a lot. And there's I mean, it's actually pretty thorough, but it doesn't over explain itself at all. So yeah, that was interesting. I mean, if it's these demons that make him immortal, I mean, that definitely, even though that definitely keeps it open for Freddy to keep returning. Which,
yeah,
spoiler alert, he does.
Yeah, I kind of got spoiled with that one too, with the next movie that they made. But to kind of caveat off of what you guys were saying too, I mean, these were some of the best parts of the movie. I would say is getting to know, okay, where did Freddy come from? How did Freddy become who he was? One of the aspects of this movie, though, that really kind of, I'm glad we saw what we saw. Even the shit I complained about before watching this movie, I'm glad that we saw what we saw from Freddy in the prior movies, because this movie all those movies prepared us for this. That video game scene where he kills old dude through the video game, I thought that was spectacular. I thought
really?
the way it was done. Really? What happened?
Oh, I got so
you didn't like
mad
that?
at that scene.
Oh, why? Why?
After Carlos's death, oh man, Carlos's it's like they blew their wad on that and tormenting and killing him. I mean, I thought that was the best part of the movie, and then they do this with Spencer, with the whole video game thing. Yeah, that was really corny, and I don't know. It just didn't really do much at all for me.
What
about you, Smith? Did you how'd you feel about the video game scene?
I definitely enjoyed it, but it's not a great thing. Especially his the one-liners he has while he's playing the video game, and he's like, "Wow, great graphics!" Like,
yeah, that was kind of cringy. But again, I don't know how they talked back in the early '90s. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that was, people were like, he said great graphic. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that was like a thing in the '90s.
The power gauntlet.
Look, it's very wacky. It's very wacky, I have to admit, but that's the Freddy that they've given us. Because look at the past 5, now 6 movies, right? We've gotten kind of wishy-washy when it comes to Freddy, but those last 3, after like Dream Warriors, we kind of started getting a more consistent Freddy Kreuger. And I'm not talking about just with it just being Robert Englund consistently, but in terms of us knowing that it's going to be scary, but it's also going to be some very cheesy, weird, quirky things that Freddy's going to do in ways of killing his victims.
Well, yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
No, it just, this particular one just...
Yeah, that particular one.
I mean, I know he could be corny and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know. It just went on. I don't know. Maybe because I just wasn't liking it. It just seemed to go on longer. But like I said, after Carlos, I was just like, wow.
That Carlos death scene too, though. That Carlos death scene, I'm not gonna lie, dude. As a 28-year-old grown-ass man, when he took that first pin out or nail and dropped it, and he actually caught it, I was like, it was like a sigh of relief. I was like, why am I feeling like this right now? Like, why am I so fucking relieved that the old dude got the fucking nail? But then you see the hand full of fucking nails, and I'm just like, oh shit! Like, I almost had a fucking like attack. I was like, what the fuck? what the fuck? And he just drops all of it, and you think it's going to be like this big loud boom, but you're just trying to think of like, how would it really feel to have a hearing aid, and for like, you know, obviously like the intensity just turned all the way up, and something like that happened, and it's like, oh my god.
If that director had one scene in them, that was it, man. I mean, the everything that they did with Carlos, just where they went mute and other things, you know, and we even got a little wisecracking Freddy, but it was brutal. It was so brutal. And
the thing too,
the what?
The what do you call it? The earwax thingy. The
hearing it?
The cotton swab.
Yeah. The swab.
Oh yeah. That I was just like, no. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I was like totally immersed into it and just feeling Carlos for Carlos, just feeling the torment and the torture. Yeah, and the cinematography. I have to give them props for that too. There was just some great imagery, you know, with the way the room that they were in and everything, the way the shots were going. Yeah, I mean, it was all so good. But it didn't reproduce that, you know, from that point forward, you know.
And beginning, you know, at the beginning of this movie, we're introduced to what was this cat's name? Was it John Doe? What's his name?
Yeah, John Doe.
So we're introduced to John Doe. They try and scare us a little bit, but we know, hey, at this point, we know, hey, something's coming. It's the beginning of a horror movie, let alone Nightmare on Elm Street movie. We know something's coming right smack at the beginning. This was a little lackluster to me. Again, once we got past this scene, I started getting more into the movie. But this opening scene where on the airplane, and then he's falling from the airplane, then he's in his house, then he's falling from the house, or the house is falling. I didn't think too much about this movie. That's why I was like, yeah, I can see what kind of movie this is going to be. But then, turn it around for me. So I want to know in terms of characters, because this movie to me, in terms of character development, I thought was honestly, it was okay. It was pretty good for a movie that's an hour and a half long. I thought the character development was they did what they had to do. I mean, from building Tracy, John Doe, Carlos, I forget the daughter's name, or the lady's name, the therapist's name, which I should probably remember that. Was it Lisa or something like that? And they had the black therapist too. The black guy didn't die. Yeah. Another movie where the black guy didn't die.
And that was Yaphet Kotto. That's another obscure actor, I guess, for me. I mean, you've seen him in things, but man, Across 110th Street, that's a great performance, man. What a great movie. That was during what they call the blaxploitation era, but I wouldn't call Across 110th Street blaxploitation. That was some pretty solid drama, and Yaphet Kotto was the lead role in that. He was amazing, and as far as the way he was in this movie, at first I was like, oh, I guess Mr. Kotto needed the money, but I was looking at his filmography, and he doesn't really have as many major roles like he did in Across 110th Street. So, yeah, I don't know. But he grew on me a little bit more throughout the film, for sure.
And and that he did, because the entire time I'm thinking, okay, this is another character they're just going to throw in there. He's going to die. So what purpose? Because the way I look at it is, what purpose are they going to serve before they die? Because that's what it is. It's they're either going to help build Freddy's character, or they're going to help build the main character, or help at least in one way or another, they're going to contribute to the actual theme of this movie. Not a lot of Elm Street movies do we actually get a real theme anyways, but just saying. With this one, with this character, and the ideas that they had him come up with in terms of the sleep machine or whatever it was, they got hooked up to, and then they tried to, and then where he was in that dream, and he was talking to Tracy, and Tracy was fighting on the, with the little punching bag or whatever. And then he rips Freddy's a piece of Freddy's shirt off.
Yeah, now, that was cool.
If you're gonna hate this part though, or what I'm about to reference though. Mark, I know you're gonna hate this specifically because we've talked about this quite a few times, but the part where he rips off Freddy's shirt. If had I have not seen the remake of goddamn, I keep wanting to call it Friday 13th, the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. If I did not see that remake, I would have thought, holy shit, what are they gonna do with that? But I remember that scene from where they ripped off Freddy's shirt in the remake that came out 10 years ago, and brought it back, and they realized, oh, we can bring Freddy into our world, and then that's where I knew where they were going with this movie. That's where I knew where they were going with the end of this. I was like, oh shit, they're about to bring him to the real fucking world now. So before we get to the actual ending of this movie, I want to go through. I want to hand it over to you guys and know who was your favorite character and why. And Smith, I'll start with you.
I guess Freddy. Best character. I mean, for me, like those three kids, including John Doe, the girl, and Carlos, they're really just in the movie to die. Like that's why they're there. I guess there's a little bit of, you find out about Carlos's past, and John Doe thinks he's Freddy's kid, but they're really just there to die so that Freddy can have some kills before we get to his daughter. So all of them pretty much out. As far as the actual daughter goes, you said her name was Lisa, right?
I think so. I can't remember.
Which Tracy?
No, not Tracy, but the daughter.
Oh, Maggie.
Freddy's daughter. Maggie.
Maggie. Okay. So she, I mean, the only thing she really developed is like now she takes dreams more seriously, I guess. I don't know. Like, because he gave Morpheus all that shit about dreams not meaning anything, and then eventually she starts caring. So nothing happens. So yeah, Freddy is the whole show here, like,
And I mean, they decided to actually kill Freddy in this movie, which I mean, we know that this was supposed to be the last Freddy movie, right, Mark? But
oh yeah, they even did a publicity stunt where they had a memorial service for him in Los Angeles, and the mayor came out and declared the opening date Freddy Kreuger Day, and I guess he got some heat for that. Oh, he's a mass murderer. But I guess Robert Englund was like, man, people just gotta learn how to, distinguish reality and fiction. Come on. The morality police were on that.
And who would have known that, still to this day, we have that same problem. People don't know how to distinguish reality and fiction. Mark, before I hand it over to you about your favorite character, I just want to say, with this movie, between Dream Warriors and this, I actually have a hard time picking a favorite character. So I'm kind of curious to who your favorite character is going to be.
Oh, well, it's going to have to be Doc in this one because he grew on me, and believe it or not, all the dream stuff. I've had my intelligence insulted way worse, and by some of the supernatural jumbo in movie. Can you hear me? Okay, well, yeah, but it wasn't bad. Like I said, he grew on me, and so I'm looking at performances here because Carlos, the actor who played Carlos, he made me feel for him, and Yaphet Kotto managed to handle a character that had like the opposite of potential. Like I thought, oh, this is going to be really bad, and then he grew on me more. But I mean, of course, I have to be with Smith. I mean, the reason why I watch these movies is for Freddy, But the non-Freddy character is going to have to be Doc. Okay. And, no choice is a bad choice in this one because I feel like everybody got the right amount of time for their character to serve their purpose in this movie than any other movie. Probably since Dream Warriors. Because Dream Warriors was pretty much, I don't want to say an ensemble, but I mean, honestly, it probably was, by definition, an ensemble
cast of characters grouping up to defeat this giant, phenom of Freddy Kreuger. I mean, you kind of saw that in It as well, at least the new version of It, right? You see a group of kids or people in general grouping up to face this phenomenon. And I think this Dream Warriors was a great example of that. Then for some reason, I get that same feel in this one. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because we get characters that we actually fucking care about. We don't get an annoying ass main character. They don't have stupid ass, supporting cast. It's actual characters that we can care about. It's actual characters where we're like, wow, I really don't want to see this guy die, or I'm kind of curious to how this guy's gonna die. They pulled at personal strings in this one, and it actually made you kind of, I wouldn't say it made you super like, oh, he's talking to his mom. But the fact that he's old dude Carlos is being punished by his mom. He's telling her, look, I can't hear it, blah, blah, blah. And his mom turns into Freddy. Like, scenes like that are, to me, are just, it's amazing. It's amazing because I still don't care enough about these Freddy movies for me to actually be super into these characters. Like, if I don't care about the characters, I don't care about the movie. That's the way I am. And the past few movies, I'm just like, yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're that, or yeah, they're bad, whatever. But it's just like, only because I can't really, and I'm not saying I have to resonate with any characters, but the fact that I can't even get on board with any of these characters, whether I think they're going to die in the next movie, at the beginning of the next movie, like we did with Old Girl from the first one to the third. So this movie did it. This movie fucking did it. Now, in terms of the kills, I know we just got done talking about the kills. Is there any character that you guys would have kept alive?
Nope.
I
wanted more dead ones.
But glad Doc didn't get it because, yeah, I'm with you on the black guy always getting it in movies, especially around that time period. So, yeah, I mean, I was reading Badass Mofo, the zine that nobody's probably ever heard of back then. And that's where I was made aware of the whole thing. And he wrote some pretty good articles about it. So, yeah, it's something that stands out to me if I watch a movie and the black guy dies at the end or gets it first or, whatever.
Yeah, it used to be, the trope used to be what? The first person to die in horror movies, right? He used to be the one. I forgot which Final Destination movie it was, but I remember I was like, black dude's gonna die. Black dude's gonna die. Definitely first. It ended up being like, sure enough, 30 seconds later, gone. So now I want to get to a part where we always talk about, right? A part where if you could fix something in this movie, what would it be? And seeming that you two aren't, it seems like this isn't your favorite Freddy movie you guys have seen so far. So I'm kind of curious as to what you guys would fix in this movie and why you would fix it. Whether it would be the production of the movie in terms of like set pieces, or whether it be certain kills, or whether it be maybe making Freddy better, or maybe better character development. So Smith, I'll start with you. If you could fix one thing in this movie that really bugged you, what would it be?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Freddy's makeup quality dropped a lot in this film. Like, he didn't look anywhere near as gross. You could tell, like, whatever he had on his face was kind of dry, and before it looked like, like wet, like it was pussy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that kind of took me out of it, especially when they did close-ups on his eyes, and like, you can tell there's just a regular dude under there.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. I mean, there's probably other things, but that'd be the one thing that really got me.
I would say, though, in terms of Fred, I can actually eat food and watch a Nightmare on Elm Street movie now because he doesn't look as but I totally get where you're coming from, though. I totally get where you're coming from. I will say, before I forget about the scene where he was talking to Doc, right? And he was like cutting his fingers off because he was saying how many times they tried killing him.
I like that.
You guys cannot tell me that scene wasn't awesome, though. You guys cannot tell me that.
No, I really like that scene. Yeah.
That's probably my favorite scene of the whole movie, honestly. Just because of how cool he was. Like, look, they tried. What did he say? They tried to set me on fire.
Yeah.
They tried burying me. Yeah, they said they tried pouring holy water on me. And just, oh my god,
that was well done. Yeah. Robert Englund's performance was was really good in that scene.
Yes. Oh man, he definitely stole the show in this movie, man. Mark, what about you? If you could change one thing in this movie that really bugged you, what would it be?
Well, I kind of gave it up all at the beginning, but I just, of course, when it comes to slashers, I always look for more victims, so that goes unsaid. But if they had to kill as few people as they did, if they could have done what they did with Carlos, the way it was, where Spencer was just hopping around, and Freddy, and just, I don't know, it just didn't really do the trick for me. Tracy's death was pretty forgettable. So yeah, they had one scene, so it was like, look, you showed us you're capable of actually making this, cheesy, and I don't mean, when I say cheesy, it is never pejorative out of my mouth. So, but this thing, they into art, and Carlos's scene was art, because it's a horror film. I was horrified. I was feeling for Carlos, and so if they could do that, they could have done it with the other murders.
I agree. And I actually enjoyed the other deaths. Not all of them, but a couple of the other ones. But yeah, I do agree. That nothing really topped that death, that Carlos death. Which sucks. Which sucks because I didn't really care about that character too much. I cared about the other ones. I wasn't like, oh my god. We knew we were gonna kill him. We knew we were gonna die. But I'm thinking to myself like, man, that was a really cool character. That character, kind of served their purpose, whatever. If I could fix something in this movie, I would probably fix. I know this sounds terrible, but maybe make it a more horror element type of movie. Because throughout this movie, yes, we know. Again, by definition, this is a horror movie. But when you're sitting there watching it, you're like, this probably couldn't really pass as a horror movie if you want to put this in front of like a hardcore horror fan. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be scared. You would like. There was no point in this movie. Was I scared? Did I feel any? Now, again, go back to that Carlos death scene. Again, I gotta say, those nails hitting the ground before you even hit the ground, you're doing this, or you're like, or when he brings out the fucking chalkboard and he's just like. They pulled out all the guns. It seems like they threw all the cards on the table for that one death. And didn't we talk about that with last movie too? With the death of old dude on the bike? Seems like they pulled out all the fucking cards and pulled out all the production money on that one death scene. Which does this continue? Do they just continue to do this throughout this franchise? It's just, hey guys, in the first 20 minutes, you're gonna get this awesome fucking death. I'm thinking maybe those were the death for the trailers. I've never seen the old trailers for these movies, but maybe they did that for the trailers. Like, hey, we're gonna do some really cool shit, and then you go into the movie and it's like, oh, that was the only thing you got. Like, that's the only thing you had for this movie, and
the thing about it is the Carlos scene. In the last one, it was a guy on the motorcycle. It looked like they spent most of the special effects budget on that scene, but this one wasn't. I don't think it was as much of a matter of budget. And this one, it wasn't like they blew the whole budget. That's what I really liked about the scene was the cinematography, the emotion and sympathy involved with it, the drama and the horror of it really came to the fore. And that's why it becomes a disappointment later, because the budget constraints shouldn't have been an issue moving forward.
Facts.
If they were going to be able to do the same thing with Carlos, as Carlos.
Facts. And with them being under New Line Cinema was, obviously we're talking about the very early, we're talking 91, so maybe New Line Cinema didn't have as much money as they did in the mid and late 90s. But maybe we'll see that in the next Freddy movie. Maybe we'll see a better production. I assume we have to see better production as time goes on. There's no way you're going to get a Freddy movie in the mid or late 90s and there not be a lot of money put into it. I'm expecting that. What's the next one called? Was it Freddy's New Nightmare or something, or Wes Craven's Nightmare?
Yeah, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm expecting to see. I'm expecting to visibly see the money put into this movie in that one.
I really got to wonder about that because, I don't know for sure, or at least I don't recall, but I think the Nightmare movies were the flagship franchise for New Line Cinema, but I just really got to wonder what those executives were doing. Again, there wasn't as much.
What were they thinking?
yeah, and well, it's kind of funny. On the Wikipedia article, it says the budget is $9 to $11 million. Like, what the hell does that mean? What do you mean? That's a $2 million spread. I don't know, roughly guessing. What the fuck? Where's the paperwork on that? Come on. And then, but
it got lost.
Yeah, apparently so. But and then again, these movies keep, this one tripled the income. It's like, it was like 34, almost 35,000 or 35 million that they took in at the box office alone. So, it wasn't like these movies weren't making money.
They made a huge profit. So this was what their biggest profit thus far, right?
As far as I know, yeah, it was for until Freddy versus Jason, and it was the biggest opening weekend and biggest moneymaker for the franchise.
So I can see why they decided, okay, years later, we said Freddy was dead, but money talks. Money always talks, man. So I want to now. Normally we would go like super in depth into this movies, but we kind of started late. We got another show going, so I do want to ask you guys before obviously we get to the grades part. I want to ask you guys in terms of your favorite parts of this movie. I know we talked about kills, but I want to know in terms of favorite part of the movie. What was the part that you said, all right, I kind of fuck with this movie? Smith, I'll start with you.
Well, I know Mark didn't like it, but the video game kill. It's pretty definitely like that. Not because it was scary or anything. I just found it pretty entertaining. He's like making him jump. I don't know if they did that.
He put him in Super Mario, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if they did that in the other movies where like they would move during their dreams, right? That didn't really happen. You're in the dream, then like you would just die in your sleep, basically. But so they took a different approach on it. But yeah, I thought it was just definitely an interesting scene. Just like punching the walls and stuff, like.
Yeah, and then like hitting the cartoon version of his dad and turning around and it's like this big, gigantic, cartoon version of his dad again. It's fucking crazy. I know it sounds to people watching this. I know it sounds crazy, but you got to watch the movie and you'll understand. Mark, what about you? What was your favorite part of this movie?
Well, obviously, I've been gushing about the Carlos scene. And as far as the video game death scene goes, there is one part of that sticks out for me. Is I think it was it Doc and Tracy that entered the dream, entered Spencer's dream.
Oh,
and
yes.
They appeared right outside the door to the room that Freddy was playing the video game in, and I think it was Tracy just jumps in and So I thought that was kind of funny where they're just like, and he was like, what the fuck? And I don't know. There was just something about that little part of it that I was like, this is like the best part of the whole scene.
There was a good thing that came out of it.
Yeah. And then of course when he's cutting off his own fingers to count off the ways he died in the past scene. Yeah, another standout scene for me, for sure.
That's definitely my favorite scene of the movie, just because you go back to Freddy to Nightmare 2, right? Where Freddy's at that picnic or that little pool party, he's standing out there and the fire's burning, and he says, "You're all my children." Like, that was my favorite part of that movie, if not the whole fucking franchise thus far. Like, that's still iconic and epic to me. Even though that movie itself like was the scene,
the go-to scene, where Freddy's in the fire and trashing the pool party. And if it wasn't for that scene, nobody would remember that movie.
Oh man, so amazing. So now I want to get to you guys' grades. And I'm very curious about this. I'm very, very curious about this. Mark, I'll start off with you in terms of your grade for this movie. So, Mark, what is your grade for Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare, and why?
Well, this is kind of funny because I already decided what my grade was going to be. And I think you made some good arguments, Corin. So I'm going to move my grade up to a B minus.
Ooh.
Yeah, a whole grade. Because I was at C minus. And it was because I thought, well, yeah, the Carlos scene was what I liked, and the rest was, but you talked about the character development and everything like that. So I was like, okay, yeah, you make some good points there. But hey, why have a panel if we can't influence each other's end decisions on the film, right?
I mean, how did you guys feel about the character development compared to the other movies, compared to the last five before or the previous five?
It was definitely worse.
Worse.
I wasn't invested in these characters at all. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's just these three delinquents that show up and don't have a reason to be there. Like, you get like 2 minutes to explain Spencer's origin, and like that's it.
But they were surrounded by, essentially Freddy's daughter is the reason why. I thought that was not necessarily. I thought that was a loophole, not the loophole, but that was the link. You know what I mean? Because I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, why is he going after a bunch of randoms? Because they weren't on Elm Street. But then later on in the movie where he brings up that street and he's like, there's an Elm Street in every fucking town. And I'm just like, okay. I'm just like, I mean, we're flex, but, I guess they have to do that, But, yeah. I mean, I'm right there with you in that. But, I mean, I think the only two links to that was, the daughter worked, they were all surrounded by the daughter. And what easy way? I mean, Freddy does prey on teenagers. So, teenagers around your own daughter, he's saying, hey, the mission's done once I get to my daughter. Anyways, once all my, all the people who have really wronged me when I was alive, which I don't know if they dove too much into that part of it. They did visually, but in terms of actual storytelling, I don't really know if they really dove into the actual, aftermath of him actually dying and then him saying that, I'm, the Dream Masters or whatever he called them, like, they called upon me. That part really took it away from me, the ending a little away from me. But Smith, what was your grade on this movie and why?
Giving this a C+.
Ooh.
So, I mean, you talk about Carlos's death, and it was well done, but does it stand up to the waterbed death, the cockroach motel, or even the motorcycle death? Everything in this is kind of like not as good as other films. And I know you think it's the best one for some reason, but not to mention, you guys remember when she put on the 3D glasses?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing, Mark, you might know that this came out in 3D in theaters. Yes,
so only that part.
Yeah, you can tell because she puts her hands in front of the camera.
That was the cue.
There was
they gave out, they gave out 3D glasses and said, okay, put on your glasses when Maggie, wait, where was it? Was it Tracy or Maggie? Maggie. Yeah, she put on her glasses. And that was the 3D part. It wasn't the whole film, though.
It did not age well because she puts her hands in front of the camera and just moves them around for like 5 seconds. And like, dude, what the fuck am I watching?
And why would I put on 3D glasses for 5 seconds?
Well, I mean, I guess the other parts are when you see the three dream demons and like they laugh around and they just fly off. And it's like, oh man, that's totally worth the 3D, I guess. But and then so the ending where we see like this lady throws like 1,000 fucking knives. Like they even do like a double take where she's throwing one and it doesn't show the impact, it just shows her throwing it again. It's like the same footage twice. And I'm like, why? Like,
it was the 90s.
It was so bad. It was worse than any of the other films, I think. I'd have to go back and rewatch them all. This is definitely the worst one. I would take the Kung Fu fight over the ending in this. Like,
oh my God. Don't bring back that fucking kung fu fight, man. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That movie was better than this one.
Oh,
This
man.
is bad. This is bad.
Oh, shit.
Well,
Well,
they blow him up with the dynamite. Like they confiscated dynamite from a teenager.
but think about it. Think about it.
And a crossbow. This is fucking ridiculous.
Dynamite. Wait, was it?
Well-
no, it was. Yeah, it was dynamite. What? It wasn't a pipe bomb, was it? Was it a pipe bomb?
Oh,
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
because
was?
that was a callback. There was a callback to
To earlier.
yeah.
To where they confiscated the pipe bomb from old dude, right?
But if we're talking about ridiculousness in this movie, I would be remiss not to bring up. Okay, so these kids are stowaways in the van. They're discovered, and she says, "Oh, you kids are bad. We're gonna just stay in this town, and then you got to drive back. You know."
Yeah.
To the place you wanted to escape. And yeah, great
And I
plan,
trust
Maggie.
you.
Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, that was the best they could do. I mean, who was in the writer's room? Man, at least, maybe some, or I don't know. What were they doing? What were they drinking? I don't know.
My only excuse is that, my excuse for every movie that came out, before 2000, it was the 90s. That's my excuse. It's like, why did they do this? Why is it so bad? It was the 80s. Like, like what the fuck?
Oh, you could take that, it was the 70s. It was the 60s.
Yeah. Why was anything made this way? Look, this movie, I got to give this movie a B+. And the reason why I gave it a B+, and it's probably the best grade I've given any Freddy movie. Maybe Dream Warriors I probably gave a better grade. I'm not sure. Because it does come down to those two movies for me. There's quite a few things that played a big part in this. And it was, again, the 90s style. Like, we got a 2-year difference between this one and 5. And to me, it seemed like a totally different environment, a totally different atmosphere in terms of this movie, which made me really enjoy it. Another thing was Freddy. We got a better Freddy than we did, to me at least. We got a better Freddy than we did in the last 5 films. This movie, I got to see full-blown Freddy just sitting there having fun. Now, obviously, in the end, Freddy dies, blah, blah. Did you guys also notice, just on a side note, did you guys notice in the credits where it said R.I.P. Freddy, like where it had Freddy's picture said R.I.P.? That shit was hilarious. I enjoyed that part. How serious they took it, and I didn't know the thing about them doing a memorial service and everything in real life. They went full. They hit like a nosedive into this fucking franchise with that. Just the how quote unquote real they made everything, even outside of the actual movie. Like they put a lot of not just money into this, but a lot of stock. And work.
Well, Freddy was a cultural icon by then. It was the 6th movie.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal.
That's awesome, man. That like to be able to have a character where you do something like that, that's awesome. And for this movie to be the would the word culmination be the right word to use?
Probably, yeah.
But the culmination. Yeah, like the culmination of all of this coming together. And this being, all right, we're done. No more Freddy after this. I thought this was a complete, because again, I'm not grading this off of the movies that we're going to be watching after this. I'm grading this off of, okay, they said, hey, we're done after this movie. This movie's it. For this to be the last movie of the franchise, I thought they did really well with it. Now, of course, there's a couple plot holes, which is why I bumped it way down to a B+, because I almost had it as an A+ until the ending of the movie. Or at least an A, not maybe an A+, because A+ is that everything checks the. But in terms of an A, dropped it down to B+, because the ending of this movie, I was sitting there like, it was better than most of the movies from this franchise, right? We always talk about the wonky endings with these movies. This one was no different, but it was a little bit better, which is why I still kept my grade to a B+. The mentioning of the, what do they call them? The dream masters,
Demons?
dream demons.
Just yeah.
The
just
mentioning of the dream
yeah.
demons. That was when I was like, okay, you kind of, if someone takes us the wrong way, you kind of just buried your entire franchise by mentioning the dream devils, or the dream demons. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm alone in that. I don't know, but I just thought that was just a cop out. And they kind of just needed to kill Freddy and needed a way to kill him and figure out how to kill him without trying to come up with a creative way to kill Freddy for your potentially last movie. So I had to bump it down to a B plus. But besides that, I thought this movie really knocked out the park. I thought for a send off for Freddy, I thought this was it. I thought, it could be done better, but
well, I mean, yeah,
know,
not to defend it too much, but yeah, I could see why they had him, they had him killed with his own gloves, but then they did the pipe bomb. That was kind of like you had it and then you dropped it.
It's like what it is. You know what it is? It's like, oh my God, Jesus, Mark. but it's like that one friend who like never stops trying to make jokes on top of another joke, and then you're like, all right, dude, stop. Like, we got it. We laughed 5 minutes ago. You don't have to keep trying to make. You know what I mean? That ending was the equivalent to a friend like that. The friend is always trying to be funny. This movie, I want to rank at number 1 out of the 6 that we saw. So far, I want to know, you guys, where would you rank this movie if you had to rank the 6 movies? Because eventually, we're going to rank them once we finish all of them. But I want to know, so far, where would you rank Freddy's Dead?
Are we doing like 1 is the best, 6 is the worst?
Yeah.
All right, so I guess a 5. There's one worse.
At this point, I should never be surprised by Smith's answers, but I always am. I never understand why I always get surprised by Smith's answers.
This is a terrible movie, man. I don't know why I can not see that.
Mark, what about you?
5. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. I think number 2 is probably the worst so far. 4 is probably my favorite. 5 was better than I thought. But so 4 was probably the best. 3rd, the 2nd, the 1st, 3rd. Yeah. 5, 4, and then 6, 5. yeah. Sorry.
Damn.
Or wait, maybe it was.
Man,
wait, is it, no, yeah, 6, and then 2, 6. Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Hey, yeah. At least we all are in agreement that 2 is the absolute worst. Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing we could all agree.
Yeah, I mean,
the second one.
That one scene couldn't save it.
Dog
yeah.
shit.
You and I, Corin, like agree on the pool trashing scene, but yeah, that didn't save the movie.
Yes.
I mean, the same thing with the Carlos. It did not save the movie. I upped my grade because of the way you said the characters serve their purpose and things like that. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's right. But yeah, I was, and Carlos was the only thing saving it from an F. And I had it at C minus. Yeah.
Oh my God, Mark, how dare you? How dare you? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we just reviewed the 6th installment in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. Now, I want you guys to hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you guys thought if you watched the movie. Give us some more movie suggestions if you guys love. It doesn't have to be just horror, but right now we're on this horror surge and we're riding that wave, man. How many more movies do we have left in the Friday? God damn it! Why do I always do that? Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. We have 2, right? 3. We got New Nightmare, Freddy versus Jason, and then the remake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm kind of scared. Oh man, I can't wait to see. The only one I haven't seen yet is the Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So that's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. Can't wait. But ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you guys think. Be before we get out of here, I want to let you guys know we are just a few minutes away from our second live stream here tonight. So make sure you guys head back over here on this channel. Here in about 5 or 10 minutes, we will be up talking about the latest movie news. Our film panel will ascend here in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I am me. This is Smith. And Mark, where can people find you?
Well, I haven't been very active on my main website home, thewalterpaisleycafe.com lately. I've been really busy with my art, actually. So check me out at thewalterpaisleycafe.com. Check me out at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as Mark Plaid Spidau. That's SCHPIDAUU, the Walter Paisley Cafe. And it should be linked below, my TeePublic account. I've been really doing a lot there, a lot of new designs. I'll be putting 2 new designs on that account on the storefront for the next, couple of months or so. Got a lot of stuff.
Fuck yeah. And make sure you guys check out Mark's TeePublic, man. Dude puts in a lot of work in his shit. So make sure you guys check that store out, man. Real talk. Meet us or on the film panel here in a few minutes here on Half-Ass Pod. But in the meantime, I am me. This is Smith. This is Mark. We're Half-Ass Pod. And ladies and gentlemen, we are OU.